All right, hey guys, Sam back with you. It's Thursday, January 3rd, and next up, my request is look at Apple. No surprise, this is some serious carnage. Now, what's interesting here, I'm midday on Thursday, and you look here, I'm just drawing this up here. We've just entered the golden zone right now. Whether that's going to hold or not. Now, note, I'm on a weekly chart here, right? So digging into that, we've just tagged the 233. Interesting, right? So that's a pretty that's one hell of a sell-off. So just boy, I haven't even heard the tally as to how much that is in loss of market cap, but that is a substantial number. So we're going from 233, and as we sit here at 142. Wow. So right now it's just there's no. So you have no signs of any pivot here. Now we're sitting on a weekly, but we are sitting right in the golden zone. And then we have this structure here. So if this is going to go beyond this one here, well, then we lose the idea that this may be this may be the 4. Could be. Right? It's hard to. All right, so you have this clean 5 here, and if you look at it on a log scale, it does look like there's an outside chance that this could hold. If it does hold, or technically you could make the case that as long as the 1 holds, but you certainly wouldn't want to see that. You'd want to see this hold. You want to see this 139, let's call it 139 hold here. Now here's the reason that I think we've got this. I'm going back to the 2013 low. This is all quite technical. So let me scrunch up here a little bit. So we'll work through these here, but if I go off of this proposed low down here, now this will make sense in a minute, but so note here we get this nice scream here. It looks like that's a pretty substantial one wave here as we're going from $11 to $100 essentially. Well, from that swing, what do? Right to the 50 and right to the 233, right to the Vegas wave, exactly where you'd be hoping. You'd be like, oh, please make the 50 so I can buy it. Boom, boom, up we go. Here's the front runner. Here's the target being hit right here. A little reaction. It has more legs. It keeps going. So thus, I think 1, 2. This is not long enough to be a 3. So just process of elimination. 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, that's very bullish because if this is just the 4 of this count here in yellow, then we're still looking to put in the third, right? Right. The third of the larger degrees, meaning much higher prices still to come. Now that's if this is going to hold. Now let me take this off. So you have to look at that and go, oh, okay, is there another way I could count this? Well, part of the reason that I'm coming up with that, let's see, I'm staying weekly here, so I'm going to go to log scale and let's reset this here. So there's a couple of things here. This is so good, I just have to show it to you. All right. People that wonder, why I rave on about median lines. Okay, so this is the low. Am I right on there? Right on. I did dial those in, but yeah, that looks good. Okay, so what's our low here? 45 cents. So you look at that and you go, oh, okay, so what do we have here? Now let's get to put this all together. Now I am in log scale, so so we're so deep, we're beyond the 786, maybe the 887 was there, but that was a retracement at 92 cents. Yet, right, it's a corner pocket, 80% probability. What do? Right, we tag it. Right? It's literally textbook. Like I can't, I keep thinking, people say, oh, you must be. That couldn't be real. You must be like doing this in Photoshop or something. Like, shit, man, draw it up yourself, right? There it is, right? 80% probability. Now, how long did that take? From April of the 3rd, from April 03, that was 4 years. 4 years. Now, you can make a case here that you tagged it there. But 4 years to really hit before you got, and then you got to look at just the textbook, perfect ABC for the 4 to the lower edge. And then we keep going, right? So you look at that and go, shit, man, why do I care about what happened in January of 2008? Well, because it's a function of what follows. Now, if that's the 3, 4, well, what are we doing here? Right, so this is just straight up, right? That was through, so that's the 09 low through the 13 high. Quantitative easing. So we get that kind of move here. Now you might, at first glance, you'd look and say, oh, it looks like we're done, right? So it looked like, oh, the symmetry would have been just great here. 5 finishes, and now we don't come down for a 50. Not what we get. So now that I've shown that to you here, I'm going to pull that off just to free up some space. Now I'm still in log scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, is the 5 still up here to come? Well, this is why this is important here as to whether or not this is still going, because otherwise it's going to be a little trickier to get a count that works here. Because so what we'd have to be anticipating let's see. If this breaks here, if we violate here, this is a clear impulse. So that eliminates the possibility that we have a diagonal, even if we do break it. Well, I shouldn't say eliminate. We could, there could possibly be a way to count this so we'd have a diagonal because of the straight rip here. Now, the question is if this holds. Now, if it does break, then we have to rethink where we are here. Now, I'm going to take this out of log scale, and you're going to see the radical difference. Okay, so let's open this up, and let's go get it up here a little bit higher. So we're just tagging here. We're going to hold. This is literally, that's, that will be a major trend change if that breaks here, because at this point, this is your, you could probably make the case that there'll be algo support here. So if you now look at it here from the 2, what are we doing? Now we're just hitting the 50, though we're a little bit through it. So how else could we count this? Right, it becomes tricky. So 1, 2, maybe we can make. No, this is. I'm struggling to find an alternate. I was thinking maybe go 1, 2, A, B, C. Right, but see, this is just such a clear impulse. Really, you don't. That's not what you anticipate in a diagonal. So I don't think that's what we're looking at. So if this is going to be a bitch to count. So let's hope that holds. All right. So if that is going to hold here, right, and that is suspect as we sit here, continuing this price action here. We're here. This is interesting. Look here, how many times we've gotten this oversold, and what followed in Apple. Right, now that doesn't guarantee, right here we didn't get this also, it doesn't guarantee we'll see the same result, but that's somewhat interesting, right? And the RSI to get that pinned, look what followed. Look what followed, right? Here we get divergence here, we don't get that far because the retracement's not so steep. Here we are deeply oversold. Now, oversold implies that it can't stay. Well, it's overdone. It must correct. Well, these things can stay oversold for a long time. Now, that is one serious rip. So you would anticipate some sort of relief rally, if nothing else, for those that are short or those that can't take the pain, right, that were buyers up here. They're going to bail. So there is the expectation here that this will rebound out of it. Now, do we make a full loop all the way back up to overbought? There's certainly going to be, of course, right, there's going to be algos fighting you on the way back. So if now we don't know if this is where our low is, but if we do that, then they're, coming back to this 50, there'll be an algo waiting to sell it, looking for that or even that for second target here. This would put us 121. So this is going to be ugly to kind of try and recover the strength of trend here. So now with that still kind of loosely holding as a 4, it's tempting to go, oh shit, man, Apple at 142, deeply oversold in the RSI. Yeah, that is tempting here. Now there's likely you can make a pretty strong case here for a trade that you could take this on the idea that if it breaks that 1, you're going to be out. So that's 142 to 134. To some degree, it's a little bit problematic because if we're correcting, however we're correcting, I wouldn't assume necessarily that the correction is done here. That's so what, right? Just in standard Elliott speak, that so far it looks like just an A wave, right? Now right, if we're going to get, right, so now you start thinking, oh, maybe I can get a double wave a double bottom, we could hold that 4th wave. Well, that's, hoping for the, something out of the ordinary is not the position that you want to be in. So if we got something here, because it's just straight down, there's no subdivision here. So we get something like this, then we're coming down. It's possible that this support could hold. Prior resistance here could hold us, so we could see something like that. That's not the craziest thing you might ever see, right? So here we had, look at this action here. So double bottom here. 1, 2, 3 triple bottom here. You know, it's not outrageous. You know, look here, all the way back here. Now you got a base here of support, base of support, base of support. So this could be a reasonable base, but there's probably a trade here just to get just some sort of relief reaction out of this because we're so far down. Right. So then it's a question of, do you want to buy the falling knife? Well, if you want to take a trade here off of the idea that this is so extreme, and historically, right, those have been, you know, significant events here that you wouldn't want to be trading for new highs. You'd want to trade for a move from the A to the B, right? Anywhere in that, well, what would we be looking at here? From 142 back to 190? Nothing wrong with that, right? That could happen quickly. So, you know, you have to be realistic about what's happened here, right? So far, because that's just straight down, there's no subdivision there. There's no way to get a, you know, look, here's good subdivision, A, B, C into that. This was even a little tricky, right? Again, it's somewhat distorted because you can't see it as clearly. You can't see the breakdown of it on a weekly, but that's likely just an A wave here, just going in. So, you know, if you take the long here, you know, I'd be realistic about what to anticipate here, and I wouldn't be we're off to new highs. All right, so with that established here, now this is going to be quite the tell. So I'm somewhat reluctant to do anything beyond suggest the opportunity here to buy from the A into the B. Now you want to be more conservative. Let's go down. Well, there it is on a 4-hour. So we can get a better look at some of the subdivision. Even here, just right off the bat, this certainly doesn't look corrective. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe going in right here. All right, and still now I'm on a 4-hour. We're still pressing the low. So this it does. Let's see, is that my 2? All right, we got a couple of. This could be here. Looks like we could have a diagonal in the 1. So let's look at that. If that's the 2, all right. 23, there's your little ABC. We're approaching second target there. Just out of curiosity here, let's see how that looks as a potential for the 3rd. If that's the 1, and that's pretty good, right? So we went a little bit beyond it. Looks to me like that's just an A wave going in. So I would, you know, boy, you're not getting an ABC out of that. No way, no way. That's just 5 down. Implying that what's to follow will just correct that. So if we grab that, right? This is standard ops, same thing we do every single time. Now we don't have the low here yet, right? We just have a contender, and we're pinned down here. So maybe there's a little divergence there, maybe, right? So note here we've got a new low in price, We don't get a new low in either the oscillator here or the RSI. So it's not. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're done with the sell-off here, but it's just something to take note of. If we start to get some traction out of this, you want to be more conservative, wait for the first retrace, right, and try and get that. That's ugly, right? There's almost no way to paint a pretty picture here. That is 5 down. So what that implies is that there's likely to be a retracement or relief rally, right, as we come out of this. But this is the likely, again, we don't have this low here, but this is what looks likely. So now you put that together and you go, okay, well, where would that put me relative to that 1? Right, so this is going to be a little problematic here in terms of what are we going to do with that. That's going to be a tricky count because of this. Right? This is not long enough, right? So this cannot be a 3, right? This can't be the 3, right? It's just because of the length of the 1 and what follows. So we can't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Just not an option. So what do we do with this low down here from this 09 low? How are we counting that? You know, that's going to be a tough one. Right, I might have to go to the Wizard of Oz or Elliott and check with my partner on that, see how he's counting it here. That's a tough one. I know he's trading this and watching this, so I might check with Master Quan here on that myself, because I'm going to struggle to find a count here that works on this coming from this low to get a clean 5. If this is going to be our top, shit, even if it's the 3rd, this is going to be tricky to get a count on. You're gonna have to work backwards and work your way back down. Not easy. So first up, though, let's see what happens here. Let's see if we hold the 618. Right? That will be, to some degree, this will be a significant tell. All right, so let me get that right on that here as to whether we can hold here to maintain any possibility that we might end up with a. You know, I hate to, again, as I said, I hate to rely on, well, maybe we'll get a double bottom. Right? That would not be what you'd anticipate. You'd anticipate, again, I don't have this low, so this 50 is not relative to a low that's been established. I'm just looking, so what could happen? Well, if we do that, that's going to be a bitch to get a count on. Right? Not that we can't do it. It's going to take, you're going to have to really work through that, right? Working backwards as to how we resolve this. So to some degree, I think we can look here and say reasonable probability here. So next earnings is on February 19th. We want to see that hold. If you're in Apple, long Apple, and Apple bull, we do not want to see that break 139. Well, technically, let's call it 134. All right, then this is going to be tough to get a handle on. All right, so we kind of wait and see. Now, I don't know that I'd necessarily be jumping in there. Now, if you were a buyer here, see the advantage of a trade like this, if you do it in options, is right, the calls will be much less expensive. Puts will be expensive, right, because of that move down. So any kind of a snapback rally here, you know, calls will accelerate quickly. So that's not to get ahead of myself, but that's we're going to get into a whole section on option trading here, and that will primarily be for members only. So if you're watching on YouTube, I don't know that we can make that work on YouTube, but members, you know that's coming from us. So maybe that's one more reason to think about joining us. Okay, so with that, you know, that's how I would trade that. I would use options, right? And after that move, well, so all the premium is going to be inflated just because of the volatility. I'd want to let that volatility die down a little bit, and then maybe look for a call to look for that rebound up to 190. All right, so with that said, this is critical level here. We really want to see this hold. All right, if it doesn't, we'll be back to try and get a handle on it if that breaks. Okay, guys, that's pretty much all I've got for today. And with that, I'll wrap it. With just last reminder here, just because it's going to end tomorrow. We do still have the last day or two of the New Year special, where you get 20% off on the 3-month, 30 on the 6-month, and 40% on the yearly. So if you're thinking about joining us, then a way to save some money. All right, just a reminder there. All right, guys, that's it for today. We'll talk to you later.